If you want to make money from Skool, then this video is for you. Now before I start, I would like to clarify that this video is not about getting organic traffic to your Skool page. That is not what this video is about. This video is about taking an audience from social media like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram or X, which is formerly known as Twitter, and turning them into paying customers. Inside of this video, I'll be covering the three main topics, which are sales, retention, and management. Before I start, I'd like to clarify something. And that is that I help creators in scaling and managing their info products. I help them make as much money as possible from them. I can't tell you anything about what type of content you should make or how you should make it. That is something I should leave completely up to you. So let's look at sales. In order to get sales, we need to get traffic. That means you also have to decide on what funnel to use. Now this depends on what type of product you're selling. If you are selling a low ticket product, then you should go for the direct funnel. That means that you take people from your content straight to your Skool sales page. If you are selling a high ticket product, then you should warm up your audience first. This means that you take people from your content to either a site, a call, a free course or a free community, and then take them to the Skool sales page. This is so that you can prove to your prospect that you are capable of providing value to them. Then let's look at optimization. So in order to max out our traffic, we have to optimize a couple of things. First, let's look at how you mention your community inside of each video. It's important that you mention it at the end, but I also suggest that you mention it subtly somewhere in the middle of the video. Believe it or not, but I have already mentioned my services to you right here. I told you that I help creators scale and manage their info products. That is the only thing I'm currently selling on this channel, and this is only for creators with an audience. But that is a subtle way for me to tell you that I am offering something to the people who watch these videos. Then let's look at the sales pitch. So what do you mention in the sales pitch of your video? First, you want to mention the problem that your customer is probably having. Then you want to provide a solution to that problem, and that solution is often the offer which is tied to your product. So if you offer a course for somebody to get fit or for somebody to learn how to study, and that is what you mention. You mention that you have the solution to their problem. If you have results from people who have already joined your paid program, you can show them inside of this pitch that you have inside of your video. And then, for the most important part, the call to action. Your CTA or your call to action is the most important part of your sales pitch. You can get people to buy a product simply by only giving them a CTA. Then, this is the only thing I can tell you about content, and it is focus on high quality and quantity videos. You have to look at the results over your opinion. So if a video does better than a video that you like, then you should focus on the type of content that does better. And then you also have to ask yourself, do I want to make money or do I want to get views? If your goal is to make money, then you should look at what videos convert best. If your goal is to get views, then just look at the type of videos that get the most views. If one video gets you 1,000 views, but it gets you 5 sales, and another video gets you 2,000 views, but it gets you 3 sales, what video should you be focusing on if you want to make money? Video 1, of course. Then let's look at split testing related to the pitch that you have inside of your videos. It's important that you split test your CTA inside of the video and inside of the copy, but you should also try to split test all the other things like the results you show, the offer, the solution, and the pitch in general. And then focus on sales over clicks. If you get a lot of clicks but few people convert, that means that you are pitching the wrong way. But if you get a lot of sales but only a few clicks, that means that you're pitching in the right way. It might not be convincing, but what you're pitching is delivering a good conversion rate to you. Then let's look at the sales page. So for the actual page, let's start by looking at the copy. Here is what I recommend. You need to have an opening statement, which is 1 to 3 sentences, in which you mention the goal of the product, plus the results it got you. Then you want to pitch your offer. And the optimal thing to do, in my opinion, is having 2 lists of 3 items. First is your main selling points. These are your course, your community, your calls, or something else that's very big and valuable that you put there. Then you have your bonuses. These are things like PDFs and any other bonuses that you may offer to your prospects. And then finally, the CTA. I see many people forget this, but even on the sales page, it is still pretty important to add a CTA. So this can be as simple as join now or get in now. Then let's look at the media on your sales page. Half of this should be result oriented. That means that you show your customer what the results of your program or of your product will be. The other half should be an inside look into the product. So you show your classroom page, you show the community so people can see what you are selling. And if some people left good reviews or made posts about their wins, you can also add them on that part of the sales page. Another thing you should add is a VSL and a cover. Inside of your VSL, you want to have a story about where you were and how you are where you are today, why you're qualified to talk about the topic that you are selling a product on. Then you want to tell your audience the offer. I said copy offer here. That's because the offer that you're offering here should also be said inside of the VSL. Then you also want to give them another inside look into the community. You want to show results, just like on the sales page. And don't forget your CTA. This is important, don't forget it. If you forget your CTA, that will significantly decrease your conversion rate. Then let's look at split testing. Try to split test everything. I know that some people may not have the time for this. I know that this is a time-intensive process because I have to do it for a lot of people. But I promise you it can make a significant difference to optimize everything. And yes, there is entropy in this process. That means you will never fully quit split testing everything, but at a certain point you will have your 80% results. And let's look at the next part, which is retention. This part is mainly about reducing churn. First, let's look at the product. Your product has to be good and it has to be never ending. This is the most important thing for making sure that people stay inside of your community. How do you make it good? That's up to you. How do you make it never ending? In my opinion, events are the best way to do this. I've made a video about events before and I will link it down in the description so you can check it out if you want. But the idea is that you have an event inside of your community, and inside of that event you create value. So you create more items that go with the event, like courses, like PDFs, like live calls, these things. Another thing you should do is make it so the customers that you have inside of your product are always in a state of FOMO. FOMO being fear of missing out. So you want to hype up the new stuff that's coming out. You never want to stop creating content for your customers. If you're wondering what I mean by content, I mean calls, messages, attention, and courses. Giving them these things, making it so they get closer to their results, that is always good to keep your customer inside. And I have two more tips for you. The first is that you need to test everything. So try and test everything, from your onboarding to the way your courses are positioned to what's being said in the community. And then if you increase your price over time, that is justified. But you have to know that as long as you are increasing value, that is justified. If you just put a course there, leave it there and just wait for people to join, you don't make any changes, then a price increase over time is not justified, because if you're just treating this like passive income, then it's best to keep the price the way it always was, or just sell something one-off instead of selling it as a subscription. Then let's look at the final part, which is management. Let's look at managing the product. How do I optimize and manage my product to make it the best way it can be for my customer? Well, you have to do a lot of testing and asking. Don't ask me, ask your customer. You can ask them, what would help you to get closer to your goals? What can I do to help you get to where you want to be? And then you want to take their feedback and use that to create more courses, calls, and value. You implement what they tell you and you start creating with it. Then let's look at the final part, which is the community. How do you manage the community? First, you need to have good moderation, especially if it's free, but if it's paid community, this is less important, but still, try to make it so that people are still focused on the topics that are supposed to be talked about inside of your community. And then finally, you want to manage the approach that your members have to each other, that your members have to you. These are some of the things you have to manage inside of your community.
If this video was helpful, then consider liking and subscribing. And if you're a content creator and you want me to help you in creating and scaling an info product, or you just want to know why I make these videos, then click the first link in the description.